because usually we just put everybody in at the same time. So you got it pretty down packed to where I'm on the side, and then it's like bringing me onto the stage, which I guess I'm in right now.
Yeah, you are. So here we
Okay.
are. Introduction. This should be like my introduction and all of that, and then bring you in, right? So we're learning together. Here we are.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, George, it's been a long time. What's been going on? What have you been? You've been very active recently on SubTo. So tell us a little bit about yourself for everyone that doesn't know.
Well, thank you for the introduction, Victoria. As far as within sub two, just overall, kind of finding myself, excuse me, and just learning as I grow. Doing the whole typical, doing the what you call introduction, newbie Zoom with Caroline Kane, and trying to take in these books as we grow, and Avatar Challenge, sales training, all that analysis paralysis to her, like, oh, one more pace more video and I'll make a call. One more pace more and I'll make a call. 9 o'clock. Hey bro, what time you gonna make that call? I'll do it tomorrow. And knowing that you'll never be ready, and it's just about taking that action, and every situation is different. And it's just learning how to be the active listener, that problem solver, and just like I said, just enjoying the moment kind of, and meeting people like Bobby. I don't know how we met. I believe I met Bobby through another investor that he knew, Edward Yip. You might know who he is. And
Yeah.
I actually met Edward Yip at a SubTo meetup, and not knowing if he was even connected with Bobby or not. I guess
Mhm.
I just introduced myself, and all of a sudden, somehow, Bobby, I think he posted something about pad splits, and I just
Mhm.
happened to see it. Like, I'm interested, and like we hopped on a call, and he's like, "Yeah, George, I know you. Like, you know me. How do you know me?" And then that's when he talked about Edward. And so I think that's the biggest thing, Victoria, is the networking, just being out and about, and making it less about yourself and more about others. And aside from that, just trying to be that closer, which I am. I guess I could say I'm a closer now. Close about, like, I think 9 deals, and working on a couple more this month. And it's just learning the background stuff of getting this paperwork ready, and getting a little odds and ends ready for the closing coming up. And other than that, just trying to help as many people as I can, knowing that I'm only a couple chapters ahead of everybody else, or those people that come towards me, and remembering how it was when we first started.
Oh
Cause
my
like
gosh. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's awesome. So yeah, it has been it seems like it's full circle right now just from one post, right? Just from one post, and then everybody seems to be like we're just expanding our networks just from that, and it's just up to us to actually go learn, right? We
yes,
easily ignore it and get distracted and something else, but yeah, we're that's all pretty much that you can do. And sometimes people even say that don't even put up a plan B, like don't even think of a plan B, because then if you did, you would have options, and then the next thing you know, you're like just doing that instead of focusing and like harnessing all of your energy into one thing. So yeah, that's
true,
awesome.
cool,
So
cool.
how long have you been in SubTo?
I would say now about a year or so now. I've been I tell people I was sub two and a half or sub half before, because I was around the community, and being part of the other teams at the time as a lead manager, and kind of learning with the team, and noticing when you join a team, it's kind of like you pull the sheets over, open up, like, holy crap, yeah, I don't have it as organized as I thought. But learning, taking the positive with the negative, and just taking that experience and taking it on to the next one, and knowing that they were just a couple of chapters ahead of me as well. And it's just kind of building your own thing, because leaving that 9 to 5 mentality behind is hard. And Pace mentions that a lot, to where I don't know what to do. I need to do the next step. I need to do, and so when you join a team, like, holy crap, they don't know what they're doing either. They're learning as they go too. And so what that helped me do, Victoria, is just be humble, have that humility, and like tell people, hey, I got 9 deals, but man, I probably messed up about 20 of them. But I learned from each one of them, being humble enough to admit that, and knowing that I can't do it by myself. and that was, I think that helps me with, I guess, my closing ability, to where just being, hey, I don't know all the answers, I'm just here to try to figure out how we can help you. And
Hmm.
having those experiences and trying to understand, separating the house and the deal from everything else, and just understanding where you at, Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, and how can
Hmm.
I how can I help you get to where you need to get to next.
Okay. And you're based in Houston, right?
Based out of Houston, yes.
Okay, got it, got it. I actually spoke to a seller that they're thinking of selling. They're in Houston,
Okay.
and they're going through some medical problems right now. So they told me to just
Hmm.
call, because obviously they were asking like, "What's your number?" And I'm like, "Can't really give you the number. I have to walk the property, and obviously it's off market."
Right.
And I immediately thought of you because I'm like,
Oh, thank you.
he's not in Dallas. He's in Houston. So I'm like, okay, let me connect with George, and hopefully he'll have some time. It's, I don't know, second week of November, they said. They were like, just call back in first week of November. Let's set up a time. Second week of November. I was like, I just ended it right there. We had a conversation for, I believe, like half an hour.
Mm.
So I got some information, but obviously I was like, well, the next thing we have to do is I would have to send someone over there to walk the property.
Okay, I'd be more than happy to do that for you. I've done that in the past and learned that sometimes it's like you doing that favor for somebody. Sometimes it may be monetary, and sometimes it's, hey, just want to help you out, to where I walk the property for you and like, hey, George, I plan to wholesale this. Do you have any buyers? Like, oh, I happen to have some buyers, and making all those connections, to where it's learning at that point is positioning yourself as maybe like a disposition wholesaler. Like, hey, Victoria, I got MLS access here. I have a small pool of buyers, to where I actually, through networking, met them and can tell you that I know them directly, compared to, yeah, Victoria, I got a buyer. Then I'm over here, hey, Bobby, you got anybody?
Yeah,
Hey,
right.
hey,
Yeah.
you got anybody? You got anybody? And then boom, boom, boom. It's like, hey, how many people I gotta pay? Like, no, I have a small group of buyers that I know directly, and it's just about pitching it to them and not really blasting it out on social media so much, and creating that relationship, to where, hey, me and Victoria, we got something going on, and not like the song, but we got this deal going on, and seeing if we can make something happen.
Hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So, you're just purely wholesale then, or what is it?
Whole Yeah, wholesaling, and possible open to JV agreements, to where kind of learning, like, if I put myself out there, Victoria, as, hey, I'm a closer, I can help you close, to where ideally I may be shortchanging myself for right now, but I'm thinking an assignment fee could be like around $10,000. And
Hmm.
if I do my I guess half of the work, that's 5K for me. And if I can do that 3 times a month, that's 15K in my pocket, to where
Hmm.
it's more than enough for what I need. But then it's scaling that up, but also putting myself in that position where, hey, so and so, I think I'm a pretty good closer. Let's hop on a video call like this, and let me call the seller, and either I close it or not. One way or the other, you're learning, and you're getting something out of me that maybe I do close it. Like, wow, okay, or we'll know what to do on the next step. What was I missing that way we can progress on that call. Kind of like Pace Morby does, from the jump before he got so super big.
Yeah, yeah. Can you imagine? So,
Mhm.
how would you scale then, George? How would you scale your operation right now?
Just like, say, being able to being through the going through the cycle of joining different teams, and actually cold calling, and going through the reps of, man, this cold calling sucks, but it's a necessity. Just like if you're a CEO of a company and you got a toilet, obviously you like to take care of your business on a clean toilet, and if you don't have anybody there, you got to do it yourself, until either you can afford somebody to do it, or pay for somebody. But in order to scale, it's learning how the ins and outs of cold calling, the ins and out of being a lead manager, and the ins and out of becoming a closer, to where it's eventually bringing people in. But I know certain people, and that's how you kind of test them, by cold calling them and seeing if they have the grit, but also knowing that they may have other responsibilities, to where they probably couldn't be on the phone that long. But the goal would be to scale to where, if I can keep that 15K a month, or roughly, then I can maybe afford that VA and bring them in as a cold caller, and of course, scale up as kind of helping them based on what I'm learning and motivating them, and obviously paying them right. Obviously, with bonuses, they can bring people in and slowly, how could I say, promote them. Maybe that
Mhm.
cold caller can be the lead manager can be the
Oh,
closer, and bring somebody in behind and have that sort of system, or the they call the SOP, standards of operations, or yeah,
mhm,
procedures, standards of procedures, yeah,
mhm.
SOP. And
Yes.
that'll be the goal while I'll do stuff like this, and maybe I have more time to interview different people and do more of a podcast thing on the side.
Yeah. Yeah. Isn't it so fun?
It is. It is. It's being natural and just like say having a natural conversation and making the other person feel comfortable and kind of helping them get more people, more eyes on them. Because
Mhm.
some people I notice they may be big in a certain way, but they're not out there to where I'm like, well, I'm not really big as far as like stat wise, but I am. I had that fear of just wanting to get to know people. Maybe it's because coming up as a lonely child, like, oh, I want to
Oh,
hang out with people.
only
Yeah, yeah. I want to
oh,
make everybody smile. Hey, why are you so sad? Stuff like that.
yeah. Oh my
Mm.
gosh, I have so many questions. So, for your cold callers, let's say, how would you train them if you had cold callers? How would you
Mm,
train them?
well, first I'll get the right system that I believe works, and obviously I'd probably have to get, and that's where I'm still learning, Victoria, as far as when you're getting these stats, because before it was like shooting fish in a barrel. It's like getting vacant homes in Houston and just calling, not really having that right system, that right structure, which I think I do have based on learning from other closers like Daryl Ellison. I basically bought it. He's got a little system going to where he's training us. Like he does like an hour of sales training with us. So I get a lot of out of that by following that system, and by following that system, you never fall prey to the seller system, which is basically trying to get as much information from you as possible, then shopping you around compared to understanding that first is the introduction, then it's setting up that upfront contract, and then finding out the problem. And by finding out the problem while creating that rapport with that person at the same time. So how I would train that person, just put them in there, kind of listen to their calls and spend time with them. Spend time with them to where, may take an hour or two out of your week of listening to your calls and helping them, but also learning how to encourage them to point out the good and work on the negatives to where this and this is good at Victoria, man. And if you can improve this part, man, you're gonna be a killer. And it's like, okay. And then you see that they're improving and giving you more quality leads. They're more going through the four pillars than I just want to sell. And then you're like, all right, Mr. Seller, you want to sell? If you could sell in 90 days, would you? Like, no. Like, okay, then I think we're wasting our time. Yes, we
Mhm.
are. Okay, cool. Well, I apologize for the inconvenience. And then it's like learning, getting those four pillars out the way.
Yeah, it is a balance, though, right? It's a balance to critique, yet at the same time, you want to applaud them. But
Yes.
you don't want it too much to where they get too comfortable and they think they're it. But then, if there's a criticism, how do you deliver the criticism without,
Hmm.
without like offending them or
Right.
without thinking too much, and then
Um,
also making sure that they come back tomorrow.
Right. I think it's the words are very important. Victoria, it's like using kind of learning how to use it instead of but using and. It's like Victoria, man, you have such a great presence on the phone, and if you get more of that control in the conversation, like sometimes they were taking control of the conversation, and you have to take control. Don't let them punk you around. You're the boss. You got the money. Pace Morby. Me. Don't let them do that to you, and then give them that power to where I'm learning, sharing this with Bobby. It's like as a leader's not really like a role like, oh, I'm the leader, I know everything. No, Victoria, you can do it too. I believe in you. You got it. And like it's learning to share that leadership with others and instilling that with them, because you as a cold caller per se, if you move up to a leader manager, then you're sharing what I learned with you to the newer VA or other
Mhm.
person coming in, and it's
Yeah.
like creating that culture. You're keeping to your guns, but also you're teaching other people how you like to get it done, because at the beginning, that's where my mistake was, Victoria, when I first joined. It's like getting a VA that's kind of trained and thinking, oh, they got it. And I'm over here doing some other BS, to where I was just wasting money, to where, oh crap. And it didn't click to me at the beginning. It's you're throwing money like, oh, hey, 2,000 a month. Next month, okay, nothing. 2,000 a month, all right, nothing. What's going on? To where either something's wrong with me or something's wrong with that person. But at that time, I could say it was me, not knowing what I needed to know, which was learning how to cold call at first, and knowing the pros and cons, and knowing the battles that you may face today to day, of getting a lot of wrong numbers, getting cursed out a lot, and just learning to get that why. Obviously, as a typical, I guess you would say, American, or just typical person, you're not gonna do that for free, compared to a virtual assistant is gonna get that amount of money, and they're willing to go above and beyond sometimes, from what I've seen. And it's about encouraging that stuff. Come on, you got this, to where they want to do anything for you.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Absolutely.
obviously, with compensation, if everything's going good, then aside from their hourly wage, then you can give them like that bonus, to like,
Yeah.
come on, you got this, man, or give a Christmas bonus, or kind of get to know them to a certain level, like their family, or if they're going through a situation, help them out. Not have to be like, I guess not buddy buddy, but I don't know if you know what I mean, Victoria.
Oh
Like
yeah.
just
Yeah.
know who they are, not just, oh, they're just my phone caller. No, no, they got a family.
Yeah.
They're Christian. They believe in this. They believe in that, and
You're responsible for the children that they feed, right? The family members that they're helping, pretty much everyone. So it's in your hands as well. So that
right,
way, you're the closer. You do have to close it for everyone else as well, not
yes,
just for you. Yeah.
true.
So there is that bigger challenge. I think
Mhm.
not a burden, but like a challenge for you to actually make it count.
Right. And
Yeah.
in a way, you're investing. You're investing in that person. That's why you're spending those times listening to their calls, spending that hour of maybe that 6 to 8 hours that you are paying this person, because you want them to do good. So obviously you don't plan to do that forever. But because those 1 or 2 hours that you're spending with them, by either role playing or listening to their calls, or letting them watch some sub 2 content. This is how you do it, what do you think? And also obviously taking their opinion as well, because obviously they may see something that you don't see. It's
Yeah.
like, you know what, Victoria, that's a good idea. I didn't think about that. And learning to, like, trust your teammates at the same time as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome.
Mhm.
So I don't know how much time you have,
Oh,
George.
I got all the time for you, Victoria. I know this is long overdue, so you know I'm all
Okay.
yours.
Thank you. Um, so George, what did you do before? What did you do before joining SubTo?
I was working at the post office for about 7 years. Yeah, 7 years, and before that, I was, well. I guess to start right out of high school, I joined the army, because I think I didn't have that discipline, or not know what I wanted to do, because I believed I wasn't smart enough, or even if I went to college, what to study for, and I didn't want to put that burden on my parents of paying for college, and then I'm not really liking what I'm doing, and they're wasting their money on me, to where I've decided to join that, and I enjoyed it. Got to see a little bit of the world, a little bit of Germany, a little bit of Korea, and I was in San Antonio for a while, and just creating those relationships. And I think that helped me recognize different cultures. To where it was funny, Victoria, when as an adult, like, I guess I'm 43. If I had a brother that was 38, and say me and him are holding hands, like, what's wrong with those guys? But to say we're like 6 and 5 years old holding hands, that there's nothing wrong with that. But because of our culture, sometimes we tend to judge it, like, oh man, what's wrong with those flower boys, or something like that. To where they can hold hands as an adult, and nobody looks at them in any way, because they know that they're brothers and they just love each other.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely. And then
yeah, but uh
yeah, the
I'm
different
sorry.
cultures and the different um, everything, pretty much.
Yeah, just being like, I guess in retrospect, I just be more open minded, Victoria. I guess that's what
Yep.
I'm trying to say. Not be so judgmental of every
Mhm.
little thing. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Same thing with me too. You know,
Mhm.
just you just have to. open your eyes to just and think of how, like, instead of why, instead it ask why instead of like just saying that, that's wrong or it should be like this or like that. So then you open up your mind, certainly, and then you realize that even just us Americans, we're like just like a small country in the rest
Yes, we
of
are.
the world.
Yeah,
Yeah, we think it's like just us in the world.
right.
No, we're practically, if
Very
you only,
true.
if you only know English, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm all, oh man, I know Spanish too, but then some people know four languages. Like, oh man, I'm not that cool. Because there
Right?
are people out there that know multiple languages, which is impressive because they have that capability to understand, have that vocabulary, those vocabularies stuck up there.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So, okay. So let's go to the topic of why we're here. So you went. Did you go to Dallas and stayed at Bobby's house, or was it in Houston? Which
It was actually that day, Victoria. I went to go see a property that one of my army friends, unfortunately, her grandma passed away, so she wanted me to give her an offer. So I made that drive up to Dallas, and Bobby was kind enough. Well, I didn't know at the moment. I thought we were just gonna hang out, and I was gonna just drive back. But during the visit to Dallas, and he came to go see the property with me to see if it could possibly be a pad split. And during after we seen the property, we just drove around and he showed me a couple more of his pad splits. And that's when he's like, "Hey George, you want to stay in one of my pad splits?" I'm like, "Okay, that's cool." And that's how that happened. Yeah,
Yeah. So how was it? How was the experience? How was, how was
man.
how was the whole setup?
Man, other than being in Dallas for the first time, Victoria was pretty interesting and seeing his different properties and actually walking a couple properties that he was thinking about putting under contract. But it was I loved it. It felt like it was pretty cool because the one I stayed at, I believe it had 9 rooms, and I think it had 2 bathrooms. I guess it's one of his biggest ones to where I thought it was cool, where you had to put your little thumbprint in the door and it opens up,
Yeah.
and then it had like the open corridor part to where you have the open concept of the kitchen where I guess you would have your own separate things, and then obviously your private quarters, which was pretty cool, which had the little thumbprint as well.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
And
What would you change?
what?
What would you change
What would I change?
on the room?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, because it was last minute, and like I said, I didn't know I was gonna stay there too. Obviously, if you're gonna stay in one of those, obviously you'll know to bring your own sheets and stuff. But luckily, I had my little army bag in the back, so I was able to cover up with my. I had like a little makeshift pillow, and I had a couple of my coats so when I was in the post office to cover me up. But as far as changing, no, it seemed pretty legit, Victoria, because obviously I didn't stay there like for a week or something. But I love how he said how the community or the people that stay there, they basically have like a little app to where if they have pretty good parking, like a 2 car, yeah, 4 car driveway. So I guess if somebody's in front of the other person, they can just communicate, hey, I need to go to work tomorrow morning. Do you mind, moving your car or, getting out the way? But it seemed, even though I got there late at night, I tried to be quiet because I didn't know how thin the walls were or if they were, pretty soundproof. But I enjoyed myself. I liked the little, like, it had a little desk and a little light to where if I wanted to do some work and brought my laptop, and the bathroom was nice. It was pretty nifty or not nifty, but pretty nice.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it seems comfortable. It's very inviting. I think that was pretty much his whole idea, Bobby's, at least.
Hmm.
If you're gonna redo something, redo the bathroom, and just put like, just upgrade that.
Right.
Just focus on the bathroom, so that way people seem like at least it's clean for the
Right.
yeah,
And
for
it,
the most
and it
part.
seems cool too, where like if you don't like say you're typically I guess it'll be for like if you're a nurse or something, to where if you're spending like 12 hours at work, all you're doing is just going to sleep and getting recharged and going back to work the next day, and it's accommodating. I believe I liked it.
Hmm. Awesome. Cool. Um, I saw some of your posts, George, and you mentioned about Gator. You interviewed somebody that was in the Gator tribe recently. Is that right?
Yes, yes, on my little YouTube, I started a YouTube page, Victoria, from doing the Project Forward little challenge that Pace had going on.
Yeah.
And one of his challenges were to one to create a Calendly link and add like a little intro video of who you are and what to expect, and then just just promote it out there. So I took over that thing to where I'm always in the groups, to where going back to that little business model I have, Victoria, I'm always looking. Oh, I'm in Houston. I need help. Hey, hit me up. Hit me up on my calendar. Let's chat. Let's have a 15-minute talk, and let's see how I can help you in any way. And kind of being able to give them my services, like what I've done so far, what I've seen so far in SubTo and stuff like that. And then the next assignment was to actually create a YouTube page and just to interview different people within your group. And so I've interviewed about 3 or 4 gators and kind of understanding. A lot of them were baby gators and some of them were seasoned. And it's just basically picking their brain and see how it works, to where how can we work together, and being able to have that information on there and for other people to see. And it seems like, Victoria, I've been learning to look at my views to see what videos got the most views, and for some reason the gator lending videos got the more views. Maybe because it's people that may be interested in doing what we're doing, but maybe they're more on the lending side. So we're like, what's this? And then being able to ask these people, what got you into this? And some of them are not in SubTo, but they thought maybe this is a way I can get into real estate investing by becoming a Gator lender.
Yeah. So yeah, that was also one of my questions actually. Like
Hmm.
that would be something that really interests me. So
Hmm.
what have you learned about I know recently Pace released the 2.0, 3.0 and 4.0, right? It
Hmm.
all the way to 4, right?
I think so. Yeah, it's like super, what's called Dragon Ball Z's different levels, Super Saiyan,
Yeah.
and
So what do you think about it overall? Are you a part of it? Are you not? Are you thinking about joining? What do you think?
Right now, not. I'm just still kind of like I'm trying to learn from the shiny object. It's like more just concentrate on wholesaling, concentrate on being the problem solver, and getting to know people. Like getting to know Victoria. Like, hey, I know you work with Bobby. How can how can I bring you value? And learning from my avatars, which are helper, connector, leader, and closer. And also learning, like, just connecting people to where it doesn't always have to be monetary. It could be just simply, now that I know Bobby, now that I know you, and I know King Walls and a couple other people that love PadSplit, it's more like thinking of you guys, to where, hey, I need help with PadSplits. On Well, if you're in stuff too, go to the vault, check out the videos. Victoria, I haven't had a chance to see them, but from what I heard, Victoria's done a great job, sharing the information, so you can kind of get an aspect of it. Then if you really need to get in contact with somebody, then I know a couple people. I don't mind connecting you with Bobby. He's kind of busy man. He's kind of like behind the scenes, but
Yeah.
he'll be able to give you more information. And if you have any things that fit that criteria, obviously after watching the vault, you can bring those opportunities to him, and he could possibly be your buyer. And if not him, obviously there's other people within the community that do love pad splits.
Hmm. Yeah. So, what
Hmm.
do you think about the lending part, the 3.0, as far
Hmm.
as, and I believe that the 4.0, that's the one where you lend to, I believe you create your profile
Hmm.
and then you're able to get um, credit or loan
Hmm.
for
So,
business and also for you to become your own DSCR and not have to rely on any lenders. Have you spoken to any gators that far into the
no,
lending?
no, I haven't. That's a good question for me to ask. Now that I guess after interviewing them, Victoria, and kind of creating that relationship, that'd be something I could ask for you, and I can come back with you to get a little more information. Or if I do interview somebody else, it's asking those questions for you. So,
Yeah.
somebody else who may have the same question, maybe that can be answered for them as they're going through my little catalog of videos.
I would. Yeah, if I
Okay.
were you, I'd probably just like focus on that on like the Gator side or even like infinite banking too. Every time there's an infinite banking
Mm-hmm.
um topic, oh my gosh, everybody seems to be like just on it. I remember watching Ingrid's and Caroline's, explain it,
Right.
and they had a guest about infinite banking, and that's what they're saying. There's so many comments, and
Mm-hmm.
then get your engagement up,
Right.
all of the comments and stuff like that, or even just go through with it and then kind of like document it
There you go.
and see.
Yeah, those are pretty interesting things, Victoria. And like I like sharing with people, my financial education literacy, I guess you would say, was not very like very good, but based on most of our education, as far as if you don't know about finances, that's basically something you learn when you were in college, to where you were able to actually centralize on what do you call that, those classes like bookkeeping and knowing
Mhm.
how to manage your money, or learn how banks will actually work. And those are things that I'm barely learning now. So, but it's cool to know that they're there for you in case you do need like traditional, transitional lending, being that EMD funder for you, to
Mhm.
where sometimes when you are talking to these sellers and they're like, "Hey George, don't give me that BS. I don't want that $100 EMD. You better give me something bigger." It's like, "Oh, cool. Hold on. I know some people. I'll make it work." And as long as the assignment fee's enough, and you negotiate with the Gator lender, like, "Hey, bro," or "Hey, sister girl, you mind lending me about 5K? My assignment fee is gonna be about 20. If I
Mm.
give you maybe 2K or 1K, start from the bottom, And but depending on the relationship you have with that person, obviously that's what it comes down to, Victoria. As far as can you lend me this money within the 30-45 days? I should have this closed. Then I'll return that 5K to you plus whatever we agree upon on closing, because the thing's so big. And now that that's why I'm understanding why these assignment fees are larger, because there's a lot to do with it too. It's not just sushi money. It's a transitional lending. I mean, your what kind of TC,
Yeah.
your transition coordinator, you got to pay marketing fee, you got to pay your whole team as you grow.
Yeah, that's a good point because some of these assignment fees are like 20 grand, 10 grand.
Yeah,
That's one thing that's one of the things that you would want to check, right? Like how much are you actually charging on top of the entry fee and all of that. So
true.
do you think it's smart to go through a lender to build that relationship or just use your own money?
Probably like Pace teachers who use other people's money, but obviously it starts from, like you say, creating that relationship, getting to know that person, going out to eat with them, or being at a networking event, just understanding them, how they work, and then you being having that confidence, or being comfortable enough to ask them those, what if I do have an opportunity that I may need to need to borrow $5,000 for EMD. How does that look? And then they explain it to you, like, okay, cool. Well, when that opportunity comes, I'll present it to you. And then it's kind of like learning to have that relationship with the buyers, Victoria. It's like getting to know them and getting to know what they buy. And obviously, no, and it's a two-way street. Is you give them stuff like, what do you think about this one? No, I don't like it. Then that's when you at, why don't you like it? All because the entry fee is too high. I need my entry fees to be 10K. I mean, 10% or lower. And then asking why. Why do you need that? And they're educating you, and at the same time you're getting to know them at both ways.
Okay, so it is true that you need your lenders first, you need your buyers first before the deal,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It makes it way easier compared to, like, say you don't know me, but you know a lender, or a buyer in Houston, and you have
Mm.
that confidence to where, like, hey George, I know you're a buyer. I got this property at 1234 Main Street. It needs a little bit of work. How much you need me to lock it up at? All right, Victoria, lock it up at 80 and I'll buy it from you. Then boom, you're good. You come in confident. Hey, Mr. Seller, 60K, 10 days. I got you. What do you think? A little bit more. Hold on. Let me put you on mute. Man, I really fought for you, Mr. Seller. What do you think about 65? Man, we pay closing costs. We pay these commissions, or not even commission off market. All right, Victoria, just because you sound so sweet and I believe you work for me, let's do it 65. Then boom, 65, 80. You built in your 15K assignment fee in there, and on to the next one. And now you gave that person value, but also learning how to do the numbers, Victoria, to where it's not always about getting that home run assignment fee, because at the end of the day, you got to think about your buyers, the one taking the risk. They're putting up the money for the seller for you, and they're the ones breaking down the walls. They're like, oh crap, there's mold behind these walls. That's gonna cut into my ROI, which is my return on investment. So it's at the end of the day, it's kind of like service. It's serving the seller, and you're also serving the buyer, kind of like food. Victoria likes her vegetables nice and crispy. She likes her steak medium rare.
Hmm.
Man, she's gonna hook me up with a tip, but not really thinking about the tip. It's just I'm serving you something that you really like, and you don't mind tipping me whatever I'm asking for, or even giving gratitude, or gratuity at that point.
Hmm. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. So, do you believe that anybody can be a wholesaler, George? Or
I
no?
think so. I mean, yeah, it takes a certain, I think, a grid or a certain, I guess, going back to learning your why. If your why is strong enough. Obviously, some people are introverts to where they don't have that. What do you call it? Like if you get cursed out at all day, and think about, oh man, it cursed me out or made me cry,
Yes.
or it is hard. And now that the world is getting a little bit darker, and now that these little what do you call it programs are going away, when COVID was happening, to where you couldn't kick out these people because they couldn't pay their house. Now those are out the way, to where it is a lot more, but it's about you obviously coming in with a mentality of service. What is your why? Like mine is, I'm trying to help out as many people as I can with the skills that I have, and by getting better at those skills, by reading these books, by getting more into the vault, but also by taking more action and becoming that problem solver. Like, what problem am I solving here? So, like, hey, other than the price, is there any other reason you're selling? Nope, I want my price. Well,
Well,
Mr. Sales, sounds like I'm wasting my time, and I apologize for that. But you have a nice day, and maybe in 6 months when I reach back to you, I'll see how you're doing. Fine. Boom, next one.
yep, yep.
Hmm.
You're also very big on planning your day. I've seen your calendars that you post.
Yes,
Break
yes.
that down for us. Like how do you do that? How do you time block?
Hmm.
And what does a typical day look like for
Gotcha. Well, that took me a while, Victoria. It came from going through different coaching programs from other investors that offer them, and kind of getting a little bit from that. But as far as time blocking, it's kind of you auditing your day. It's kind of seeing, okay, oh, my in the morning I like to wake up around 6, do a little push ups, a little stretching, and then 6:30 go walk my dog, and then around 7:30 have a team meeting with my team from 7:30 to 8, talking about gratitude, your wins, what are you grateful for, any obstacles are we facing, what's our plan for today. And then after that, just getting these systems in place, which I'm still working on. Thankful for this community, because right now my main objectives, Victoria, are direct to seller, which are primarily off market deals, pre foreclosures, and also direct to agent. So I kind of do that to where, like, from after the meeting 7:30, 8:30, from 8:30 to, I don't know, 10:30, I'm doing direct to seller. So I'm kind of working on all my hot leads. Do I have to do anything with them? My warm leads, do I got to do anything with them? Okay, I got about an hour. Let me follow up with these cold leads that I probably never talked to, and then learning how to stop there, and like jumping into pre foreclosures. Is checking on those, and then I try to do all those in the morning, Victoria, and then around 1, I offer a open office to my team, to where not only them but anybody else can join. It's like an open office to where you may have a lead that you think is hot, and if you want me to call them for you, then I don't mind doing that, and we're calling them, and I'm kind of figuring stuff out, and at the same time they're learning from me. Like, wow, George, how'd you do that? Like, Oh no, I just did it. But also like teaching them about how to, how to follow the system of the sales system that we learned from Sandler.
Mhm.
Introduction, upfront contract, problem solving, and then painting the picture. Make sure you know all the decision makers, and then you give out the offer. And obviously that may take more than one call, but kind of taking the pressure off where you don't have to do everything in one call. And after that, Victoria, I do that from 1 to 4, and then from like 4 to 6, if I have anything else that I still need to do from my previous, like my DTS or my pre foreclosure direct to agent, catch up with those, and then the goal after that is kind of like settle down, maybe read a book that read a couple chapters of a book I'm reading at the moment, and then the key thing I'm still working on that is spending time with the wifey because she's the reason I'm here. She's my backbone, and she's the one that told me, "Oh man, don't worry about it, George. You go ahead and leave the post office. I believe in you." And I'm over here with my mind like, "Oh man, I gotta be so perfect." And so she's been so patient with me, Victoria, because I tell people it took me about a year to get my first deal, but it was just mainly a year of getting over my own self, my own insecurities, and
Woo.
getting closer with God and knowing that, oh man, what am I scared of? What God made me to be, God made me in the image that I shouldn't be scared of anything. So let me put my problems in His hands and let me just take that action. Let me get what SubTo is giving me. Let me reach out to the community and see who needs my help. And so that's what I kind of, and that would be a day, yeah, around 8 o'clock. Just watch silly stuff on TV, a couple funny videos, and just goof off for a bit, and
Yeah,
then do it all over again the next day.
yeah, yeah. It's tough to balance, at least right now, because mine is, I have two kids and they're off to school. One's half day, one's full day. Somebody has to be available to pick up this and then drop off that, and then all these other things. So my husband and I were trying to juggle as well, and it's not the same every day.
Right.
Everything's like just up in the air, and I'm like, okay, I guess it's just this is our normal,
Right.
and obviously it's not the same for everyone. But yeah, I commend a lot of people that can door knock while they're pushing a stroller.
Right. Yeah. Speed
What?
walking.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who would really slam the door on you at
Yeah.
that state? But yeah, that's awesome. Um, okay. So for so do you the script is different then with direct to seller, pre foreclosure, and obviously direct to agent, right?
Yes.
So you just have to like switch it.
Yeah. Just switch it. Direct to seller. It's a Victoria. I'm just calling you about 1, 2, 3, 4 Main Street. I got we're trying to lock up 2 or 3 properties this month, so I'm just seeing if this could be one of them. Do you mind if I ask you a couple questions in regards to it to see if we'd be a good fit? And by the end of the call, whether we buy this property or not from me, I would love to leave as friends. You have a problem with that? No. Then boom, motivation. What's got you wanting to sell? And then pre foreclosures. Hey, Victoria, I hate to bother you, but we're actually reaching out to people who may be facing foreclosure, and so I just want to see if there's anything we can help you with. What do you mean? Like, well, just seeing, do you know like what have you done so far? And I think because of my I guess your boldness of asking those questions at the end there, I just want to help you out. Have you done loan modifications? Have you thought about refinancing? Have you even reached out to the bank? What's going on? What solutions have they provided for you? And then talking them down the line of things that you could do. And obviously, the last things would be to try to buy your house. But and then same thing with direct to agent. Same thing. Hey, Miss Victoria, I see your listing. I want 2, 3, 4 Main Street. Man, I'm trying to lock up 2 or 3 rentals this month, and this looks like one of them. Aside from the pictures, what feedback have you been getting back? And then they just open up to you. Some people, maybe a holes, and it's just part of the game. It's just you not taking that personal, and you having that control of, and you're not gonna shake me. You just tell me that no, tell me open, you're not interested in learning how to make the most out of that lead. to where maybe this listing won't work, Victoria, but man, I would love to see if I can work with you down the line. Aside from calling agents like yourself, I'm also reaching out to pre-foreclosures, and I know these are time sensitive. So if you run into something like that, I would love to see what I can do before you maybe waste your time putting it on the market. And because I know each month that this person doesn't pay, that's going to be another month of arrears. So maybe you can use me as a tool for you. And like, oh, okay, you're all right, George. I'll see what I can do. If I had anything, and then obviously, from what we're learning, Victoria, the secrets and the follow up. The agent that you had a good conversation with, call them the next week. Hey, how you doing, Victoria? All right. You got anything for me? What do you mean? You got any problems? What do you mean problems? Oh, like tell you foreclosures or short sales or somebody that just wants to sell real quick. Oh, okay. No, no, and you keep being persistent, and when that problem does come, they'll think about you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Got it. Got it. So you don't really like tee them up for the next call. You pretty much just tell them. I mean, you just call them out of the blue. Do you tell them like, "Hey, I'll be reaching back out in a month or 2 months or something like that," or do you leave something hanging so that way you have a second call or a third and a fourth?
Depends on the who I'm calling. Like obviously a direct to seller, you're calling and they're interested in what you have. Then obviously you would have to get another call. Like, well, let me call you back because my underwriter Victoria, she's the one that handles the money, so I got to get with her to see if these numbers even make sense. And then, like you said, just follow up with a call on the second call. And then it's just about going over your calls, seeing anything you missed. Like, oh crap, I forgot to ask if they're the decision maker, and so you kind of get ready for the next call to make sure that everything's right. And luckily, if you have a CRM where it's recorded, you actually listen to your own calls and say, oh man, I forgot to ask about this because every call is like you can know everything, but you always forget something.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just being you, being transparent to where the other day I closed on a SubTo deal in San Antonio, and I had a brain fart where the agent was like, hey, my sellers, they want to do SubTo, but would they have a deed and trust? And I'm like, oh crap, what the hell is a deed and trust? I'm like, well, you know what, Mr. Agent, honestly, I don't know the answer to that question, but let me get with my team and I'll get to you as soon as possible. Other than that, do you need anything else? And like, no, 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 just that. But okay, cool. And boom, as soon as phone call's over, I went to YouTube, Deed and Trust. Deed and Trust is a fancy IOU. Like, oh man. And, yeah.
Oh.
And as soon as I heard that, like, oh man. But that's the beauty of it, Victoria, is you being in control, and they appreciate you for being, honest and transparent. I don't know the answer to that, but I'll get it for you because I'd rather tell you I don't know than tell you a lie, and then I look dumb later on
Yeah,
when and
you're
but
kind
yeah,
of.
to answer your question, it does take a couple calls, but it's about the follow up or where we can go from this call.
That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So, what CRM are you using? Speaking about CRMs.
I was using Forefront, but they had a thing with the whole A2P compliance thing to where your text messages or I guess your phones have to be registered to all the major
Yep.
phone companies. To where I switched over to REI Reply, where
Mhm.
I used it with other teams that I worked with, and it seems to be working all right so far. But I'm not too integrator friend intelligent on that end, so I'm
Mhm.
working out the quirks to where it's supposedly integrating with AI to where it kind of helps you out with. And of course, having a VA, it's a beautiful thing because it has that personal touch, but supposedly with the AI, it kind of breaks down the call to where eventually when you are talking to them, either there is some type of motivation, or maybe if you're doing direct to agent, there's that the agent's ready for that creative option talk to where all these traditional offers not working, so you're actually on the phone having a constructive conversation about creative terms and how that this may work to solve the seller's problem.
Okay. Do you use that for calling too? RI reply
Yes. Yes, right now I'm using it all in one so far.
all in
And
one.
mhm.
Okay. And how do you get your list? Where do you get it?
Well, I've been using my oldest because this is barely happening right now, Victoria. Like this last couple weeks, my home. I get my homeboy, my partner out in Arizona, Gage Garber. I believe
Okay.
he lives up there with Kevin Cho.
Oh, nice.
He's been helping me integrate that system, and I'm slowly tweaking it and getting it to where I believe it's gonna work to on my behalf.
Okay.
Yeah,
Got it. And then that's a CRM included on there too, so that way you don't really have to do any of like like sorting and then having too many applications and all of that.
yeah.
Okay. And so that's just been very recent. So like how long recent? What is recent?
I
Like a
think
month, 2 months?
within the last month because that change happened around the beginning of August. So within that time I was like it was kind of hard, Victoria, because I was so used to the system. Because the last two deals I was able to close was because those leads were in there, and like Pace says, the secrets in the follow up. These
Mhm.
leads I've been following for a whole year, and they finally wanted to sell, and it's like wow, so it does really work, and it's just you that whole year of learning from where I was before to where I am now. It's more like understanding, what it is to be able to close, or not even to close, to understand the person's problem, to see if you're even a fit, and learning how to disqualify yourself. Like,
Mhm.
man, it sound like I'm not your buyer. Why don't you put this on the market? Why don't you rent it out yourself? Why don't you put the money within the property to get what you want out of it?
Yeah.
And then by asking those questions, Victoria, then that's when the reasons start coming out. Oh, I've been disabled for about 6 months. I haven't been able to do that, or I lost my job within the last
Mhm.
6 months. And like, oh, okay, that's why you're in the situation you are. And okay, now you, man, appreciate you're helping me paint the picture. Now I know where you're coming from.
Yeah.
By
Yeah.
doing those little things, you're creating that rapport as you go within each call. And like the old phrase that friends get deals and everybody else gets retail. You're adding value to that, and you're actually reaching the person, understanding what they're going through. And I love Daryl Ellison. He has a phrase. He says that every house is like a book, and that book that person you talk to is just a current chapter in that book. So you're understanding that chapter, and you're helping them get to wherever they need to get to next.
Awesome. Yeah. That's awesome. All right, George. We're almost to the hour there. Thank you so much for staying on. I
Woo.
finally catch you.
Yes, ma'am. And thanks.
It's been so long. So yeah, George, how can people connect with you? How can people reach out? And yeah, how do they?
Um, I guess at my well, as far as connecting, I guess my website www.optimistically.net. That's
Okay.
it's mainly aimed at foreclosures. So whenever I do make it big like Pace, and people actually go to the website like, oh, this guy, he does foreclosures, to where it's a little web form, to where eventually goes. I think it's supposed to connect to my CRM, but for right now it's direct to my email, to where like, oh man, this person may need my help, and then reaching out to them and having that initial call and seeing what we can do to help that person out. But aside from that, just on my Facebook, George Paredes, and then Instagram is Mister Buy Your Home, Mister Buy Your Home, and the last letters instead of E's a three. And
Okay.
then on my YouTube page, where I'm consistently putting, I'm learning how to put more content on there that's basically aimed at real estate, mindset, and faith, to where I'm trying to bring people on there, just explain their journey and how people can connect with them as well. And learning that from the Project Forward challenge, like Pace says, he is all about cloning yourself. Sharing your journey, sharing your experiences, sharing your challenges, and sharing your wins as well.
Yeah. Awesome. All right, George. Well, keep in touch.
All right.
I'll keep in touch. I'll follow up and follow up. Thank you so much for your service as well.
Oh, thank you.
Um, yeah. And
Cool.
guys, follow George. He's gonna be big. It's gonna be big. Watch out. All right, George. You have a good rest of your day. And
All right.
thanks
You too,
again.
thank you, Victoria.
All right. Bye.
Bye bye.